You are sitting in a comfortable chair, the house is quiet, maybe you have a drink in your hand, but your mind is not in the room. Your mind is trapped inside the black mirror of your phone. You sent the message hours ago, maybe even yesterday. You see the status, delivered, read, and then nothing, just the white noise of silence. The modern man's greatest torture isn't war, it isn't famine, it is the digital sense of a woman he desires. Your gut tightens. The ancient alarm bells in your brain start ringing. You tell yourself the old painful story. She's not interested. She found someone else. I came on too strong. I am too old. I am invisible. You're about to make a tactical error. You're about to chase, or worse. You're about to close your heart and retreat into bitterness. Stop. Breathe. Put the phone face down on the table. Listen to me. You are looking at the surface of the ocean. You see the stillness and you think the water is dead, but you do not see the currents raging underneath. What if I told you that her silence is not a sign of rejection? What if I told you it is a sign of terror? Not terror of you, but terror of losing you. We are going to flip the script on female psychology. We are going to use the lens of the evolutionary lens and the shield of the Stoic citadel. We are going to uncover the truth about why a woman pulls away when the stakes get high. This is not about games. This is about biology. This is about the heavy weight of value. We are building a rare community of men who value the mind before the skin, men who do not panic in the face of silence, men who stand like the mountain while the weather changes around them. If you are one of us, if you are ready to stop chasing and start understanding, like this video, subscribe to the order, let us begin the excavation. First, you must understand the landscape, and you must understand the difference between the hollow ghost and the overwhelmed retreat. Most men treat all silence as the same. They treat it as a binary signal. Noise means yes, silence means no. This is a rookie mistake. This is the thinking of a boy, not a patriarch. The hollow ghost is simple indifference. It is light. It is casual. She forgets you because you do not matter. That's not what you're experiencing. You're experiencing something heavier. You felt the connection. You saw the spark in her eyes when you spoke. You felt the tension in the air, and that is exactly why she has gone silent. You have triggered what I call the cortisol spike of value. Let's look at the biology. For a man, reproduction is cheap. Historically, biologically, it costs us very little to pursue. If we make a mistake, we lose time. For a woman, especially a woman of maturity, the calculation is different. Evolution has wired her to be the gatekeeper. High value is dangerous. High value is intimidating. When she meets a man who actually meets her standards, a man who carries himself with the weight of experience, a man who doesn't need her validation, her system does not just feel love, it feels risk. She looks at you and she sees a potential that terrifies her. She thinks, if I mess this up, the loss will be catastrophic. So, what does the human brain do when the stakes are infinite? It freezes. This is the first concept you must internalize, the paralysis of awe. Imagine you are walking a tightrope. If the rope is 1 foot off the ground, you run across it. You're chatty. You are loose. You don't care if you fall. This is how she acts with men she doesn't care about. She texts them back instantly. She jokes. She's is busy, but always available. Why? Because the rope is on the ground. There is no consequence to falling now. Imagine the rope is suspended between 2 skyscrapers. That is you. You are the high-stakes traverse. She looks down and sees the drop. She realizes that if she says the wrong thing, if she reveals too much too soon, if she seems too eager, she might fall and she might lose you. So she stops moving. She stands still on the wire. She stares at the screen. She types a message and she deletes it. She types another. Too needy, she thinks. She deletes it. She types a third. Too distant, she thinks. She deletes it. She puts the phone away. She decides to wait until she feels perfect. She enters the perfectionist loop. And on your end, you see silence. You see rejection. But in reality, you're witnessing a woman paralyzed by the magnitude of her own desire. She is not avoiding you. She is avoiding the error that would cost her you. This leads us to our second major concept, the mirror of inadequacy. This is painful to hear, but you must hear it. Men often struggle with confidence, but women struggle with worthiness. When a woman falls deeply for a man, especially a man of high character, a stoic man, a man who has his life into order. She holds up a mirror to herself, and often she does not like what she sees. She looks at your strength, then she looks at her own chaos. She looks at your stability, then she looks at her emotional storms. She begins to think, he is going to find me out. He is going to realize I am not enough for him. This triggers the preemptive withdrawal. This is a defense mechanism rooted in deep evolutionary psychology. It is better to leave the tribe before you're kicked out. It is better to hide before you're exposed. She pulls back to protect her ego from the devastation of you eventually realizing she isn't perfect. She is waiting for you to validate her. But not with words, she's waiting to see if you are stable enough to handle her silence. She is testing the structural integrity of the mountain. If you panic, if you send the double text, if you ask, "Is everything okay?" If you get angry and you confirm her fear, you prove that you are reactive, you prove that you are not the unshakable force she thought you were. But if you hold the Atlas pause, if you carry the weight of the silence without trembling, if you go about your business, if you remain warm but detached, you break the mirror. You show her that your reality is not dependent on her constant input. And paradoxically, this makes her feel safe enough to come back. Let's go deeper into the mechanics of this. We need to discuss the processing gap. Men and women process emotion on different timelines. This is a biological fact. The male brain is often compartmentalized. We solve, we act, we move. The female brain is interconnected. Everything touches everything else. When she realizes she loves you, or when she realizes she is falling for you, it is not just a feeling, it is a restructuring of her reality. She has to integrate you into her future. She has to integrate you into her past traumas. She has to integrate you into her family dynamics. This takes massive cognitive energy. She enters what I call the cocoon phase. A caterpillar does not turn into a butterfly in public. It wraps itself up, it dissolves, it rebuilds, and then it emerges. When a woman goes silent after a period of intense connection, she is in the cocoon. She is processing the rush of dopamine and oxytocin. She is trying to figure out where you fit. She is trying to regain her center of gravity. If you rip the cocoon open because you are impatient, if you demand she fly before she has wings, you kill the process. You must understand the resource conservation principle. Emotional bonding burns calories. High-intensity romance is exhausting for the female nervous system. She has given you her energy. She has given you her attention. Now she needs to recharge. She retreats to her cave, not to escape you, but to gather the strength to be with you again. You interpret this as the loss of interest. She interprets it as a nap. She assumes you're strong enough to wait. She assumes you have a mission. She assumes you are building your empire, reading your books, training your body. She does not know that you are staring at your phone like a teenager. Do not be the teenager. Be the emperor. The emperor does not pace the throne room wondering where the queen is. The emperor rules, and the queen returns when she's ready to serve the realm. Now, let us examine a darker, more complex behavior. This is the sabotage simulation. This usually happens with women who have been hurt before, which, at our age, is all of them. She feels the love rising. It feels good, too good. Her past experiences tell her, this is a trap. The last time I felt this, I was destroyed. So, her subconscious mind takes the wheel. It decides to run a crash test. She pulls away abruptly. She goes cold. Why? She is trying to trigger a negative reaction in you. She wants to see the monster. She thinks, if I ignore him, he will show his true colors. He will get possessive. He will get abusive. He will get weak. She is poking the bear. This is the stress test of character. It is unfair. It is frustrating. But it is evolutionary. She needs to know if you are a safe harbor for her vulnerability. If you respond to the sabotage simulation with anger, why are you ignoring me? Fine. Be that way. You fail the test. You confirm that you are just like the others, unsafe, reactive. But if you respond with the stoic smirk, if you do nothing, or if you send a message days later that is light, irrelevant, and valuable, you short-circuit her sabotage. You show her that her fear cannot control you. You show her that you are not a tyrant, and you are not a beggar. You are a man who is whole. This safety is the only thing that unlocks her heart. Let's talk about the specific signs. How do you know it's the overwhelmed retreat and not just disinterest? We look for the entropy markers, sign number 1. The high-fidelity return, when she does reply, Is it short? Is it one word, or is it a paragraph? Does she apologize? Does she try to re-engage if she goes silent for 2 days, but then comes back with a long, detailed message about her day? That is not disinterest. That is the dam burst. She was holding back the water until she could handle the flow. Sign number 2, the digital stalking. She hasn't texted you, but she viewed your story. She liked a post from 3 weeks ago. She is lurking in your digital periphery. This is the orbit of longing. She wants to be near you. But she isn't ready to speak. She is keeping the connection alive without risking the interaction. She is checking to see if you are still there. Sign number 3. The future casting. Before the silence. Did she mention the future? Did she talk about a concert next month? A trip in the summer? A woman who is uninterested lives in the present or the past. A woman who is in love lives in the future. If she planted seeds for the future and then went silent, she is simply watering those seeds in private. She is scared that the future she wants won't happen, so she freezes to protect it. Now, we must discuss the most counterintuitive concept of all, the oxytocin hangover. After a great date, after intimacy, after a deep conversation, her brain is flooded with bonding hormones, oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin. This chemical cocktail is potent. It can be disorienting. It creates a sense of dependency. Evolutionary psychology tells us that dependency is dangerous. So, her brain creates a counter-reaction. It pulls back to establish autonomy. It says, "I'm losing myself in this man. I need to remember who I am." This is the autonomy rebound. It feels like she is pushing you away, but she is actually just re-establishing her boundaries, so she can love you from a place of strength, not weakness. She is taking a breath of air before diving back underwater with you. If you try to hold her head under the water, if you try to force the intimacy to continue without a break, she will drown, and she will panic, and she will leave. You must allow the tidal rhythm. The tide comes in, the tide goes out. You cannot command the ocean. You can only build your house on the rock, where the tide cannot reach. We are approaching the midpoint of our analysis. We have established that her silence is often a scream of significance. But how do you handle it? What is the specific tactical protocol for the Stoic man? You cannot just sit on your hands. That is passivity. Stoicism is not passivity. It is active endurance. It is calculated action. We need to implement the Lighthouse Strategy. A lighthouse does not run down the beach looking for boats. It stands on the cliff. It shines its light at regular intervals. It is consistent. It is reliable. It guides the ships home, but it does not chase them. You must become the lighthouse. But before we get to the specific actions, we must clear the debris from your own mind. We must address the ego fracture. Why does her silence hurt you? Ask yourself this. Why does my value drop when her attention drops? This is the root of the problem. You have outsourced your self-worth to her response rate. This is the external validation trap. It is lethal to attraction. Women can smell this. They can smell the desperation of a man who needs a text back to feel like a man. It smells like decay. It repels them. To win her, and more importantly, to win yourself, you must decouple your internal state from her external inputs. You must build the iron core. The iron core creates its own gravity. It does not fluctuate with the stock market of her affection. When you have this, you become dangerous because you are free, and a free man is the most attractive thing on this planet. So, how do we execute the Lighthouse Strategy? Here is the tactical protocol. Steps. 1. The silence audit. When the silence hits, do not move. Check your last message. Was it a question? Was it a demand? Or was it a statement? If it was a statement, she owes you nothing. If it was a question and she hasn't answered, you wait. You wait until the sun burns out if you have to. You do not send the text. You do not send the hello text. No. That is the death knell of attraction. Step 2. The non-linear ping. If it has been 3 to 5 days and you genuinely want to reconnect, do not ask why she is silent. Do not acknowledge the silence at all. You must step over the silence. Send a message that provides value, not a demand. We call this the value injection. Send a photo of something interesting. Saw this book, reminded me of your theory on history. Just hike the ridge. The view is clearer today. No questions, no pressure. You are showing her that you are living a high-value life. and you are giving her a low-stakes door to walk back through. You are lowering the tightrope back to the ground. Step 3. The abundance pivot. While she is in the cocoon phase, you must enter the expansion phase. Go to the gym, work harder on your business, call your brothers, post your wins, not for her to see, but for you to feel. When she finally reaches out, and she will, she must feel that you have grown while she was gone. She must feel that the train kept moving. If she comes back and finds you waiting at the station, checking your watch, she will lose respect. But if she has to run to catch up to the train, she will value her seat much more. The Stoic Lover's Code. Ethical, warning, we must pause for a warning. These psychological truths are heavy weapons. Understanding the overwhelmed retreat gives you power. It allows you to endure silence that breaks weaker men, but you must not use this to manipulate. There is a difference between being a mountain and being a wall. A mountain provides shelter, a wall just blocks. Do not use words as a weapon of punishment. Do not enter the narcissistic void. If you see a woman struggling with her feelings for you, if you see her enter the paralysis, do not mock her. Do not play games with her insecurity. If you do not want her, release her. Tell her the truth. But if you do want her, and she is pulling away out of fear, hold the space. Be patient, but be firm in your own worth. We are not here to exploit the female psyche. We are here to harmonize with it. We are here to lead. And leadership requires empathy, not just strategy. The archive of truth. Let us recap the tools we have forged today. Commit these to memory. 1. The overwhelmed retreat. Silence caused by the terror of high value. 2. The cortisols. Spike of value. The biological fear response to a man who truly matters. 3. Is the paralysis of awe. She freezes because she doesn't want to make a mistake. 4. The mirror of inadequacy. Your strength highlights her perceived weakness. 5. The cocoon phase. The necessary withdrawal to process deep emotion. 6. The sabotage simulation. The subconscious test to see if you are safe. 7. The entropy markers. Signs like the high-fidelity return that prove she still cares. 8. The lighthouse strategy, standing firm and shining your light, regardless of the storm. The final question. The next time your phone is silent, the next time the darkness creeps in, and you feel the urge to chase, you will remember this moment. You will remember that the silence is not an insult, it is a compliment. She is not running from you, she is running from the intensity of her own heart. She is preparing herself to be worthy of the king. The question is not where is she? The question is, when she returns, will you still be standing or will you have crumbled into the dust of your own insecurity? Be the mountain. Mind before skin. Tell me in the comments, what is the longest you have held the Pause. I want to see your strength.